Shalom Aleichem. So if I'd ask you which part of tefillah was given the least respect, kavanah, and thought, you probably would not say Baruch She'amar, or Ashrei, or Shema, or Shmona Esrei. All of those tefillot are usually said with some degree of serious and some degree of kavanah. But the most misunderstood and underestimated tefillah is the one that many of us aren't even aware of because we're out the door by the time it's actually said in the Beit Knesset. And I'm sure you know which tefillah I'm talking about. Aleinu l'shabeach. Now, if you happen to daven Nusach Ashkenaz, it stands a chance that it's said with some kavanah, because Aleinu comes right after Uva L'Tzion, and there's still Shir Shel Yom and Pitum Aktoret to say. But if you daven Nusach Sfarad or Edot HaMizrach, by Aleinu l'shabeach, everyone's out the door. It's a dessert that hardly anybody in the Beit Knesset ever wants. And it's unfortunate. So what I thought to do for the next few minutes was to share a few interesting facts about it. This way, Mirza Hashem, God willing, will shed some more light on Aleinu and help it regain some of its glory and fame. Now, there are many fascinating facts and ideas and lessons to learn from Aleinu l'shabeach. Like, for example, who composed it? And I'll just share with you three of the most basic opinions about the composers of Aleinu l'shabeach in their chronological order. The first opinion is that after the Jewish people, after Am Yisrael entered Eretz Yisrael and conquered Yericho, Yoshua ben Nun, after seeing all the idol worship, all the Avodah Zarah that was so popular in Yericho and in those surrounding areas, he instantly lifted his eyes to Shamayim. His heart wanted to express feelings, and he basically composed the first paragraph in Aleinu, thanking Hashem for not creating us like the rest of the world, like many other nations, but actually making us special and making us His children and making Himself our God. So Aleinu l'shabeach was composed by Yoshua ben Nun at a moment of inspiration. There's a cute hint to the fact that it was actually composed by Yoshua ben Nun in the paragraph of Aleinu l'shabeach itself. The first letters of the first four psukim in Aleinu l'shabeach are Roshei Tevot for Hoshea ben Nun's name spelled backwards. So the first word we have is Aleinu, that's the ayin, the last letter in Yoshua's name. The second pasuk starts with the word Shehem, Shehem Ishtachavim. So Shin, that's a Shin. That's the second to last letter in Yoshua in Hoshea's name. Then we have Va'anachnu, Va'anachnu Korim Mishtachavim. So the Vav of Va'anachnu would be the third. And then the next pasuk is Hu Elokeinu Ein Od, and that's a Hey. So if you spell those four letters backwards, you have Hosea. And true, Hashem did bless him and Moshe Rabbeinu, and he got that extra Yud to be called Yoshua. But many of our Mefarshim, many of the holy commentaries say that since Yoshua was so humble, he didn't feel that he was on such a level and he should be privileged to have Hashem, the Yud, representing Hashem in his name. So he kept on presenting himself, he kept on calling himself Hosea. And that's hinted to his name in the acronym in the first four psukim of the first paragraph of Aleinu l'shabeach. So that's very beautiful. So that's the first opinion, that Yoshua ben Nun composed the first paragraph of Aleinu l'shabeach. Funnily enough, there are opinions that say that the second paragraph was composed by Achan. Achan and Yoshua ben Nun were very close buddies, not in such a positive way, because Achan was the one person who couldn't resist the temptation, and after Yoshua commanded the people not to loot Jericho, not to take any of whatever they'd find, diamonds, golds, furniture, whatever wealth it was, Achan couldn't resist, and he looted Jericho. And to make a long story very short, he was put to death. So before he died, he actually had a few minutes. He didn't ask for a steak. That wasn't his last request. What he did with his last few minutes was sit down and compose the second paragraph of Aleinu. The second paragraph of Aleinu is basically praying to Hashem for better and holier and more special days, praying for the future. And again, his name is also hinted to in the beginning of the second paragraph, because the second paragraph starts Al ken nekaveh lecha. So the first three letters Al ken nekaveh are Achan, Ayin, Chaf, and Nun. So that's one opinion, that Aleinu l'shabeach was composed by Yoshua ben Nun and Achan. The second most common opinion concerning the composer of Aleinu Shabach is that it was composed by Rav. Okay, Rav is one of the most famous Amoraim from the Gemara period. He was a good buddy of Shmuel. Whenever Shmuel says something, the Gemara, Rav almost right away jumps and says, no, the halacha is the opposite, and vice versa. So Rav was first generation of the Amoraic period. He lived about 220, and he was one of the top students of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. So many opinions hold that it was Rav who wrote Aleinu Shabach, and actually it was originally only put into the Tefillah of Rosh Hashanah and the Tefillah of Malchuyot, which is very fitting for Aleinu Shabach because we praise Melech Malchei HaMelechim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'Yosed Haaretz. So that's where Rav originally put it, and later on, because it was so special, and they realized the great potential that it had, and the teachings that it held in it, it was combined years later into the common average Siddur that we have at hand. There is one way, there are some opinions that combine the two approaches, that Yoshua ben Nun actually said many of the concepts and ideas which were later put into writing by Rav. Basically what that means is that Rav was inspired either subconsciously or consciously, unofficially or officially, by the praise of Yoshua ben Nun after he conquered Yericho, and then he actually put that into writing and formed Aleinu L'Shabach. The third and last opinion, there are a few more, but the third and last most common opinion is that it was composed by the Anshei Knesset HaGdolah. We know the Anshei Knesset HaGdolah composed many of the tefillot and put together much of the Siddur, and that happened during the period of the second Beit HaMikdash, and that's one of the tefillot that they wrote. Whatever the case was, okay, Aleinu Shabach, even though it doesn't seem like this, it's such an important tefillah, it's such an important prayer, that it's the one tefillah, first of all, that is said much more often than Kriyat Shema. And if you think about it, that's a little crazy, because Kriyat Shema is Doraita, it's from the Torah. It's taken out of the Chumash. Aleinu Shabach, whoever composed it, it's not in the Torah. It's not in the Torah Shebichtav. So we see the great value of Aleinu Shabach, that it's said much more often during the day than Shema Yisrael. Second of all, Aleinu Shabach is very unique in the fact that it is the only tefillah that if you walk into shul, whether you've davened or not, whatever time of the day it is, whatever mood you're in, if the tzibor, if the minyan is saying Aleinu Shabach, if you happen to be in a place where people are davening and saying Aleinu Shabach, you can't just sit on the side and mind your own business. You have to join in and say the whole first paragraph of Aleinu Shabach, of thanking Hashem. So we see the great importance of Aleinu Shabach. We see the different opinions about who composed it, and whatever it is, it came from very great, important, and holy sources. And what's so ironic about this is what the Meiri writes, is that the whole reason Aleinu L'Shabach was put in at the end is because we know from the Gemara and Brachot that just like you're supposed to get to shul a drop earlier to show your anticipation and to also mentally, physically, and emotionally prepare for tefillah, so too at the end you're not supposed to run away from the shul as if the whole tefillah, as if the whole davening was a burden on your shoulders that you're happy to get rid of. So the Meiri says that's why we say Aleinu L'Shabach, to show, no, we want to hang out in the Beit Knesset. We love davening. We love this shul. And here's this extra tefillah, this beautiful tefillah, Hashem, that we want to share with you, and we say Aleinu L'Shabach. So the Meiri says that's why it was put at the end. Ironically, it's very funny because that's the time when people take off from the shul like there's a bomb scare going on, or Bin Laden has been spotted here. But which is very unfortunate because again, Aleinu Shabach is such a special tefillah, and that's the reason it was put there was to remind us of how special tefillah is and to really help us appreciate the moment. So I want to bless us all. You know, Aleinu Shabach is very similar to the movie credits at the end of a movie. Only the real die-hard fans stay for the movie credits at the end of a movie. So I bless us to be some of those die-hard fans, to really want to stick around and stay for Aleinu. And what's very beautiful about it, if you think about it a little bit, the first part is thanking Hashem for making us such a holy nation, for Him being our King. And the second part is a tefillah for the days of Mashiach, where we talk about when one day everybody will worship Hashem and praise Hashem and His oneness. And that's in contrast to the rest of tefillah, because if you think about it, in the Hallelujahs, for example, we talk about Lasot Nekama B'Goyim, to avenge the nations. And in Shmona Esrei, we say, L'malshinim al tihi tikva, don't give hope to any of these bad people. V'chol harisha karega tovedu, all the evilness should be wiped out, and so on. So at the end of Tefillah, we say to Hashem, you know what, God? Even though we said earlier we want you to wipe out the evilness from the world and the evil people, what we're really davening for and hoping for is that they stick around and they're able to be there on that great day when you reveal yourself, and they'll be there to thank you and praise you and sing with you and welcoming Mashiach and saying how awesome is Hashem, how awesome is God, and how beautiful is the world. So I bless us all to be there for that great day, and from here on and forever to have a great and awesome Aleinu Shabbat.